All right, and the B14 World Championships at McCrae, Australia. I'm Adrian Beswick, and I've got a guest commentator here with me today off Team Rocket Ship, Jono LeBee. Welcome, Jono.
Thank you, Adrian. Very excited to be here.
It's looking like things have hotted up on the water.
It does look to be a little bit more pressure as the boats get ready for the next start, definitely.
Yeah, no, it certainly would have been interesting mid-race, whilst the crews would have all no doubt dropped their jibs and prepared for these windier conditions. There's no doubt that the heavier crews will be salivating at the thought of a top 10 finish.
Most definitely. As a crew myself, it's great to be sitting on the wing, so hopefully we can see a few crews not having to do the old four-deck dance and being able to get out there on the wing with their skippers.
Nice one. I think it's certainly going to make for some interesting viewing from the competitors at home. It does look like we've got about 15 knots here, maybe even a little more, so it's certainly going to be interesting to see how the competitors get off the start line, should I say, and make their way up the first work.
It should be good to see. Very interesting. We've had a relatively light regatta to date, so it'll be interesting to see some of those crews who do prefer a little bit more wind, if they can step up and perform.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to date, look, we're 3 days in, and the cruise unit hasn't been very vocal. We actually haven't had any black crosses.
There's been no black crosses. There's been plenty of mentions and rumours, but no black crosses to date.
Yeah. Look, I'm quite surprised by that, to be honest, and I actually think that the skippers have got off quite lightly this year.
They've been very lucky, I must admit. There's been a few occasions, a few stories floating around the boat park, but no one's been pulled up.
No one has been pinged yet, but no doubt there'll be a few black crosses before the end of the championship. Anyway, it looks like all the competitors have racked up and they're off the start line with some pretty good pace there. It looks like the competitors have fairly split across the field, and we've got away to a clean start. Far out, and it looks like there's some quite consistent pressure up there to the right, so it'll be interesting to see how the boats that have started at that boat end do on that first work. But no doubt, as true McCrae conditions do show, that it does seem to be good to hit the shore.
Yes, definitely in this race it looks to be a little bit more pressure over towards the left. Everyone's sort of making their way there.
Yeah,
a few boats have tacked off on a port early to try their luck. It'll be interesting to see what will happen up the top.
Absolutely.
Top
oh, and who have we got here? It's Oz 156, which is Ewan and his daughter there on Bluey. They're certainly coming across with speed there, and they'll be trying to keep the front of the boat down in the water and keep that waterline length moving, and that's really critical in these breezes to keep the boats moving nice and quick. And we're making our way up the starboard side of the course this lap. It'll be interesting to see how the fleet handles the shifty conditions. With a bit more breeze, there'll be no doubt that the differentials won't be quite as big. And it looks like we've got Orca Blush here in the distance, Oz 368. Jeff is pretty distinct on his boat. He's quite often sporting a head cam, and also got boom cam or stern cam masted on the back of his boat. You may well, if you're a bit of a fan of watching yacht racing online, you may well have seen Jeff on the 18-footer TV. Jono, is that true?
Every now and then he makes a little sneaky appearance here when they sneak up around Rose Bay.
It's a good spot to sail up on Sydney Harbour, isn't it?
It's not too bad if you like ferries.
Looks like the camera boat here is flying upwind, chasing Rick and Alice aboard Bang Bang. They're really moving. And here we are up at the top mark. It looks like we've got Oz 778 inside there with Oz 375 rounding in first and second position.
Certainly a lot more wind in this race versus race 6. You can see the boats coming in with a lot more pressure, both fully hiked out on the wing, as the boats get to the spreader mark and go bow down for the big kites.
And looks like, here's Oz 372 and 373. They've come through with some pretty good pace, and it looks like Dave Lorimer's in there with his crew, Scotty Munro. They're a great heavyweight combination. Will be looking to have a good result this time around. And coming across right behind them, we've got Cromarty Engineering there, and us on Team Rocket Ship there. We're a little bit further back than we would have liked, but no doubt we'll try and make some gains on this first downwind. And there's the nudists and Mark Barnes there, chugging along, trying to make the most out of this heavier breeze, and no doubt their lightweight combinations will be making it a little bit more challenging this time round. And Peter and Crispin there, they've certainly fallen back in these heavier conditions after quite a good result in race 6.
You got 374.
GBR2 there, just going around. They're well up the fleet, doing well.
And Harkin, GBR 770 there. They seem to be quite similarly placed on this race. Well, haul through there, one of the Canberra combinations with the distinct blue vests. I do believe Team Rocket Ship wasn't quite happy when they rocked up to the championship.
Team Rocket Ship was definitely the first team to sport the blue vest. I believe it was all the way back to last year's Nationals, but obviously the Canberrans, having seen how good Team Rocket Ship looked last year, have decided to copy and have all sporting the blue vest this year.
Yeah, well look, Team Rocket Ship was certainly the trendsetters, that's for sure, Jono. And looks like we've got the next lot of boats coming up here on the ley line. Steve Miller on the Phantom, and he's closely followed by one of the local favourites, Lamarck Laneson.
Laneson 779.
And looks like Team Moppet there from Great Britain, sneaking in behind Mark Laneson. Is that Jeff? That was Jeff Walden.
Yep.
Gosh, he's doing well this race. He'll certainly be enjoying the heavier breezes.
Down around the gate here, got all the crews madly trying to pack the kites in.
Looks like Bancroft's making his way back upwind there, both on the wing, and it looks like the jib and the main are both cracked off, so there must be some pressure on the fleet there. And here comes Oz 372 into the mark. They've come in and they're doing a jibe and then going around that bottom mark there, and they'll certainly be keen to get back in front of Lorimer, who's snuck in front of them on that first downwind.
372 definitely enjoying this extra pressure with Dave out on the wing up there, but being able to keep a bit more power on.
Absolutely. And
extra weight.
Dave McCauley is clocking in at like 105 kilograms, so their upwind weight combination in these heavy conditions is absolutely brilliant, and they'll certainly be able to make some gains on that upwind work. Oz 378, Nick Darlow's rounded a little bit back in the fleet, but they'll be keen to get back through and make their mark on this race. Looks like was that Glenn Cardwell there with the
fixed pole out the front?
Fixed pole. Yeah. It certainly creates for some interesting racing. I know my dad and I back in 2002 when we first got our first B14, we had some very interesting racing with the pole out, but we soon realised that it was not a cool look.
I'm not exactly sure, Adrian, but I think I may have just seen Harkin doing a turn there. Maybe they clipped one of the marks as they came through the gate.
Oh, well, Steve Miller will be looking forward to that because he rounded pretty close on their heels. And it looks like Team Moppet coming in here. They're coming in pretty hot with their spinnaker up, and the crew's coming in for a jibe drop.
Right in the gate. Going to have to get that down very quickly before they can head back up.
Oh, looks like they're struggling there, Jono. What's your tip of the day there with the spinnaker?
Got to have a bit more time there.
Yeah, probably no time at all.
Gather the tack a little bit more and see how we go.
Looks like Oz 376 have got that one nailed. They had their spinnaker in the bag nice and early for a good rounding.
Having had lighter races in the previous days, obviously people have been leaving their kites up a little bit longer, so maybe this a little bit of extra breeze just surprised a few crews, and they've not been able to get it down as quickly as they'd hoped.
Absolutely. That looks to be Andre Webster there, flying downwind with his kite up, and here we are on board with Team Rocket Ship coming into the mark. And they seem to have done very nicely, come in deep and drop their kite early, and looks like the Cunningham combination there just inside of 761, which is the Whitsundays Marine team. That's Chris and Tom, who were in the lead coming into today's racing. And Richie and Lisa, again, still up there despite their lightweight combinations. They'll be doing very nicely, and they're closely followed by 778, who that's Sophie and Andy, isn't it?
Yeah, Andy got the kite in very quickly there. Good job, good pack.
Andy is a very good crew. He has been around the class for a good 12 plus years now, so he's certainly enjoying the B14 fleet racing. And the Hunt boys, they're still chasing Dave Lorimer on
A good old battle there. Yeah.
on the second lap there. Oh, and Dave has planted it. What is going on there? I wonder if he fell off the side there.
Yeah.
Robbie got
takes
a
full
nice
advantage
inside line there and just capitalised on that move. Oh, Oz 735. Is this adolescent? They are far up the fleet. They must be really enjoying the race.
Down quickly there.
And it looks like they're just in front of Nick Darlow and Dave Grace.
Nick Darlow chasing, yep.
You know, as you can see Phantom in the distance there. Steve Miller coming down with that distinct purple with the white stripe kite.
Looks like Nick's decided to go to the other mark, so it'll be interesting to see how they end up at the top again.
Yep. And that's Leakey and Jerry coming down. Looks like Leakey's struggling to get that kite in.
There.
And Team Harkin snuck in the inside. Oh, things are certainly hotted up for this this day's racing, haven't they?
Looks to be a little bit of extra pressure in this second lap.
Yeah, look at that. You can see the Whitecaps building there. We're right in front of a Gus there as Tony Blackmore and Meg come down through for their second lap. Oh, and they've gone for the jibe.
Late jibe drop, is it, or just a jibe?
It looks like just a jibe, Jono. They're coming in hot in there. They're not giving their crews enough time to get the kite down. And Mark Laneson flying around that mark.
Very experienced sailor in this area. I think he's a local boy, isn't he, Ben?
He is, but he has teamed up with a rather novice crew, but at least he is giving him time to get the kite in the bag.
Yeah. Cruise Union would be happy with that, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. No black crosses for Mark Laneson here.
Coming across the finish now, I reckon.
Yeah, looks like it, and looks like we must have... I can't quite see, Jono. It's a fair way in the distance there.
I think we'll guess bangers with that one. I think he might have got...
It could be interesting, but here we go with some of the next runners there. Coming into the mark. We've got GBR.
There's bangers.
There's bangers. Oz 393. That makes sense. And there's Team Rocket Ship up the inside of bangers. So it must have been 375 who got the win in that race. And it looks like the Flying Donkey has managed to get through. And I do believe Ian Cunningham and one other boat was in front of them. So it looks like Rocket Ship's through for 5th position, with bangers closely followed by in 6th. And it looks like we've got Rick and Alice there. They've done very nicely in Oz 371 there on Bang Bang. And Rick's making the most of his weight there and hiking out as hard as possible whilst Alice gets the last dregs of the kite in the bag.
Have a look at that main there, Bez. It's not quite all the way up.
Oh, Chris Lewins. Oh, yes, I remember this on the course, Jono.
Yeah.
It was
halfway up the last work, I believe.
Yeah, the main went bang, and we looked back, and there was the main coming down the mast. But it looks like they've managed to sneak through and score a 7th position.
Cromedy Engineering coming round too. They'll be pleased with that result.
Gosh, they look to be coming in hot in there. Hopefully they can get round that mark clean, but they'll be very happy with that result.
Nice pack with the kite and gave them plenty of time.
As you can see, the sun's dipping pretty low now. We're heading into about 6:30 in the evening, so the competitors will certainly be keen to get ashore and start resting up, get a few snags and a beer into them after the race. There's Richie and Lisa sailing in the nude there, rounding just behind the Cromedy pair. And here we are back ashore. And looks like the competitors will be having a pretty good night's sleep tonight, Jono, after a pretty massive day on the water.
Big day, big wind. It was good to get the extra wind.
Definitely.
A bit more of a challenge for some of the crews, which was good to see.
Oh, and there's Lauren and Steve there making their way back up the beach. They've had a big day in the office, and they'll be pretty keen to capitalise on tomorrow. And hopefully, they really do like the breeze, so it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Okay, well, the first race today was quite light. It started off with looked like there's going to be promising pressure, but it actually moderated over the day, and we ended up quite light in the end. The next two was quite strong, coming to 15-18, and David was great help. What do you think of that race, Dave?
Once we switched over the sheet to main sheet with the crew, you with the jib, the handling and the boat speed and height just got so much better exponentially, so it was really, really good and really easy to handle in the end.
And you know, being probably on the larger weight size in the fleet, the actual increase in pressure gave us an opportunity to strike back at some of the leaders on the leaderboard. So we're quite happy with the day. So it was good fun.
Yeah.